And joining us now, former special assistant and former director of message planning to President Biden, Megan Hayes, and former RNC executive committee member and co-founder of the Lincoln Project, Jennifer Horn. Ladies, thank you for joining us. Megan, let's dig into the polling here. Let's start with the Times and Siena College, because Harris is ahead in Pennsylvania. But then you look nationally in this same poll, she's tied with Donald Trump. New York Times chief political analyst Nate Cohen describes it as puzzling. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people that you don't live and die by the polls. The only poll that matters is the one on Election Day. So it's great to see movement for her in the battleground states, which are really important markers. But those are a snapshot in time of today. And those are a snapshot from what probably post-debate, where she is getting a little bit of bump, like your previous guests mentioned. So I do think, where it is a little puzzling to be tied nationally and ahead in some of these battleground polls, I do think it is important for her to see some growth and see some movement here. And so it's a positive trend, but I would, focus more on some of the crosstabs from some of the polls that came out yesterday, where she is closing the gap on what people trust more on her versus Trump on the economy and the immigration issue. So, she is closing the gap there, which I think is really important too. So there's more to the polls than just the overall horse race.
Let me pick up where you left off on those issues, the key voter issues. I want to show these new numbers from Quinnipiac. Harris is chipping away at Trump's top issues in these key swing states, the economy and immigration. And you look at this, Trump's only up 2 points on the economy in places like Michigan and Pennsylvania. There's only 1 point difference between them on immigration in Michigan. Jennifer, this has to be a major red flag for Trump's campaign, no?
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. And those, 1.2 points, we were talking about the margin of error there. And I think the Harris campaign has taken really strong steps in kind of shifting her messaging a little bit, as we've seen. I think we just saw some information today, addressing Latino voters from an economic standpoint instead of an immigration standpoint. That's another really important shift. Some of the work we're doing at Women for Us shows very clearly that there are moderate Republican women in the swing states, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of them across the swing states, that are open to voting across their party line on the issue of Dobbs and the overturn of Roe v. Wade. So I think these issues are what are going to push the voters. So it is encouraging, I think, for a lot of people out there to see the Harris campaign starting to focus in on the issues that they are.
And when you look at other key voting groups, Megan, we have this new poll from Howard University on black voters in the 7 core battleground states. 82% say they will vote for Harris. Only 12% say they will vote for Trump. 5% are still undecided. If you're the Harris campaign, how are you looking at those numbers, and what's your next move?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit concerning. I think she needs to be in the 90% range. I think that's been widely talked about. I think Joe Biden was in 87, 88% of black voters. So I do think she needs to focus in. I think that there are a lot of target areas, like black men, for instance, really need to hear more about the economy and what her policies are specifically to build black economic success in our country, which I think her and President Biden have started to do. But I think she could really expand on that. But I think that they're positive numbers for her, but I do think that for her to win some of these states like Georgia, North Carolina, she will have to move those numbers closer to 90. So she has some work to do with black voters.
Right. In 2020, in the exit polls, Joe Biden had a bigger gap with Trump at the end of that election. Jennifer, Trump continues to be surprised that the race between him and Harris is so close. I want to play this moment from his interview on Fox last night. This is with Greg Gutfeld. Watch.
She got out and they put her in, and she's somehow a woman. Somehow she's doing better than he did.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine it can last.
Jennifer, just his emphasis there that somehow a woman is doing better.
A woman. Yeah. I don't think anyone is surprised to learn that Donald Trump is surprised to see that there's a strong, intelligent woman who is not just, catching up on him, but is neck and neck with him in those national polls and getting ahead of him. This is one of Donald Trump's biggest roadblocks to success in this race. as long as he continues to allow the malignant narcissism that seems to lead him in all of his decisions to lead him in this campaign, then this is, that's just such a bonus. That is such a bonus for Kamala Harris. The problem is J.D. Vance is just as bad when it comes to, to misogyny and narcissism, and we've seen an enormous explosion of this kind of misogyny in the Republican Party and in their messaging, and I think that for reasons I could never possibly explain, it surprises these men that voters are not into it, that they're not embracing it, and that they're finding Kamala Harris's inclusion and optimism to be a much more palatable message.